Hi, my name is Kaveka. My friends call me AK, and usually I don't ever post on here. The last time I posted on here was like a year ago. But recent events have compelled me to talk about something I think more people should know about. In the past few days, my country, Malawi, has been getting hit by a horribly named cyclone known as Cyclone Freddy. This cyclone formed on February 4th in the Australian regional cyclone basin. After forming, it then began its 8,000-kilometer journey across the Indian Ocean towards Southeast Africa, where it hit Madagascar, then traveled further still into the coast of Mozambique, traveled through Mozambique, then moved further still until it moved on to the southern region of Malawi. Between its formation and actually going on to hit Southeast Africa, all this happened over the span of over 33 days, which means Cyclone Freddy broke the record for the longest lasting cyclone ever. What's even worse is that it seems that Cyclone Freddy even beat the record for the world's most energetic cyclone. Let me explain. You see, how much energy a storm churns out is measured by this thing called the ACE, or Accumulated Cyclone Energy Measurement. Basically, it's a way of measuring a cyclone's intensity and duration over time. And at its peak, Cyclone Freddy was calculated at about 86 ACE. That beats the previous record of just 85.20 ACE. A score of 86 ACE is more than the past 100 out of 172 Atlantic hurricane seasons. That's not just more than a storm, that's more than a whole hurricane season. It's even worse if you consider the fact that a few years ago, Malawi was actually hit by a cyclone called Cyclone Idai. That was back in 2019. And even with all the damage and loss that Cyclone Idai caused, Cyclone Idai was only a Category 2 cyclone. Cyclone Freddy is Category 4, a whole 2 times bigger than Cyclone Idai was. Those numbers are insane, and it shows. The damage shows. Just take a look for yourself.
Huyo ndiye ndilikubola bridge. Aende likubula. Line tilino ndiya kwantemangawa pafupi ndi pa bridge ya Panyamadzere. Line yomwe mkudusa madzi munali manyumba amenewo ndithu apita ndi madzi. Kutsogolo kwanga kuso tikuona kanyumba kameneka anthu ndithu athawapo pamenepa. Athawapo. Mumenewu ndi mtsinje wa Nyamadzere. Madzi akuoneka kuti asintha direction. Komwe amadzera sikomwe akudzera anso iyayi. Asintha ndithu wodzera. Apapa nyumba iyi apa ndithu ikugwa pompano metu kufika pano nyumba iyi ikugwa apa ndithu. Ikugwa tilipo mpano nyumba iyi. Kumenya ndi mtsinje wa Nyamadzere chakufupi ndi ku bridge uko, bridge ya nyamadzere kufupi ndi kunsewu ndithu madzi avuta motere kuno ndi kwa GVH Mtemangawa.
Guys, the imagery that I just showed you, from the crumbling houses, the flooding, the broken electric poles, all that happened in just this week alone. And that's not even all the footage that's out there. If you go and search Cyclone Freddy on Instagram or Facebook or whatever socials you use, you'll be met with just so many dystopian images of all the damage that's been going on. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because the majority of the people affected were people that didn't even have the best lives to begin with. The majority of the damage happened in rural parts of Malawi, and Malawi in general isn't even designed to handle disasters of this scale. In fact, if I were to name them all, the areas that actually have been affected have been areas like Cholo, Mwanza, Sanje, Chikwawa, Mulanje, Neno, Palombe. The only commercial area that has been affected is Blantyre. I mean, rainfall accumulation in these parts of the southern region has gone up to over 500 millimeters of rain, which doesn't sound like much on paper, but as you can see from the videos, is essentially biblical proportions of rain on the ground. And back to what I said about Blantyre, Blantyre is one of the bigger cities in Malawi, so I won't be surprised that that place gets a larger amount of relief funding than other places just for that reason alone. But these other districts, I don't know. In fact, the only reason I'm able to record this to you is because the area I live in, Lilongwe, is within the central region, and the central and northern regions of Malawi are within the safe zone, of the cyclone, which means that I've been able to charge my phone and upload this to you. But electricity and major communications within the south are still pretty much down. The people who have been less fortunate, on the other hand, measure in the thousands. Approximately 88,000 people have become unhoused or displaced because of this cyclone. And as of today, the death toll is over 220. And this is while the police and other, rescue groups like the military are still doing cleanups and rescues within the South right now. On top of that, more than 584 people have been injured as well. Of the displaced 88,000, only 45,000 have been put into shelters. And even then, the shelters that they've been put in aren't all proper shelters for the unhoused. Some of them are simply taking refuge in shops and lodges and hotels owned by Good Samaritans, and some have taken up refuge in hospitals that had rooms to spare. A few who were fortunate have simply gone to live with family members and relatives that lived in areas that were unaffected by the cyclone. But most, that other half of that 88,000, genuinely don't know where to go. Now, throughout most of this video, I've been the bearer of bad news. However, things have very recently, been taking a better turn. Meteorologists predict that as of March 16th onwards, Cyclone Freddy will begin to dissipate and head out of Southeast Africa back towards the ocean. This means that, thankfully, the worst has passed, at least in terms of the cyclone itself anyway. The cyclone has attracted the attention of a lot of international aid associations, such as Amnesty International, which argues that since wealthy developed nations are the leading producers of greenhouse gases, that they should take responsibility and compensate countries like Malawi in these times of climate catastrophe. The UN today has also announced that they will be sending their aid towards Malawi, and another international aid organization known as One Humanity has started an online fundraiser, the funds of which will be dedicated to helping out the victims of Cyclone Freddy. There are also many local Malawian aid funds which I will overlay on screen. As always, links will be in the description below, along with links to my sources. Another thing I want to say, and this goes back to what Amnesty said, is that I really do agree with their emphasis on the effects of climate change in this area. The fact that this current cyclone is so much stronger than previous cyclones shows that there is an increase in unexpected weather within my region. Malawians just aren't used to weather of this scale. Another thing I think must be done is that there needs to be a major effort in climate-proofing our infrastructure, kind of similar to how Japan earthquake-proofed their buildings, along with creating lots of safety measures within their cities for floods, especially after how badly they were damaged by the 2009 tsunami. And I know asking Malawi to invest in such large projects may be a tall order, which is exactly why I propose Malawi not do such a project alone. Remember, this cyclone not only affected not one, not two, but 3 African countries, Madagascar, Mozambique, and Malawi respectively. So I think that there needs to be a large Pan-African effort to support each other and rebuild together in times of shared suffering such as these. Because at the end of the day, I genuinely believe that the best people to help Africa is the Africans themselves. But that's just a thought. Please remember to donate. Keep the people of Malawi in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you for watching. Oh, don't click off just yet. I realize there's one more thing I forgot to mention as I sat down to edit this. And that is a certain observation I've had in the midst of this dark time. And that is the prevalence of just basic humanity and Ubuntu, or Umuntu as we call it. That spirit of just taking care of each other. Along with the tales of destruction and loss, there have been tales of people saving kids from floods, of people taking strangers into their homes, of Muslims and Christians getting together to raise money, of people getting together to cook and give out free food to those in need. It's just an epic reminder of that human social capability for empathy and solidarity. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I just felt the need to say that. Thank you.